morning. I'm Congresswoman Brenda Lawrence, and you are in my district. I want to welcome you officially to the United States and to the 14th District. I want to recognize His Excellency who has traveled here, and I personally was in Jordan around the 4th of July, the first week in July, and had my first trip to Jordan, which they do, is a very dear friend of mine, and such a hard worker, has promised me it will not be my last trip to Jordan. I was able to stay in Ahmad and do a visit looking at the challenges of the refugee population in Jordan. So proud of the government and their compassion and all that they have done, and we've been able to partner with them. I just want to give you a few comments about Jordan and the United States. The United States and Jordan has signed a new Food for Progress agreement. The United States provides economic aid to Jordan both as a cash transfer and for USAID programs in Jordan. And because of free trade, and I can't emphasize that enough, and I know I'm speaking to a body of people who understands the need for global free trade, the exchange or the growth from over 10 years ago, because of free trade agreements, we had a trade volume of $350 million, and today it is over $3 billion. That's a result of productive free trade. I just shared this with someone, but to date, for 2017, we have exported over $1 billion and imported Jordan over $700 million, and that's just to date in 2017. But something that I was sharing with Your Excellency and the Chair of the Chamber is that 82% of Jordan's imports that we get from Jordan are from the garment section. And I did not get any shopping in while I was in Jordan, so I'm very upset about that. So they promised when I come back I will be able to do that, but we buy the Jordan garments all the time. And I understand one of your focus is to expand the opportunities from Jordan and for people to understand all the other opportunities for partnerships that we have with Jordan, and I'm very excited about that. The USAID also provides foreign funds into the Economic Support Fund overseas contingency operations to support phase 1 of the Red Sea, Dead Sea project, which we know natural resources in Jordan has been a challenge, but there is an opportunity to transform that, and that's funds to support the construction of a seawater desalination plant in Jordan on the Red Sea. And so that's something we're very committed to. We know that's a game changer. If we can get this plant constructed and transform the issue of water in Jordan, it is transformational for the country, and we are very committed to that. I want to state here that Jordan has been beneficial to the United States, as Jordan and the United States have worked together on Jordan's top foreign policy priority, including the Middle East peace process. And when I went to Jordan, we spent about 7 days in Israel. And I sat down with Netanyahu, delegation of members of Congress. And every time we talked about peace and a two-state solution, Jordan was brought in as being part of that conversation. So I want to say that we recognize how important Jordan is to the Middle East peace process. It is important that we continue to build and maintain foreign relationships, working together to complete mutual and comprehensive goals. And growing both of our economies of imports and exports is critical to the success of both of our countries. I want to say thank you. I want to say again thank you to Faith Adu for being just an amazing voice, advocate, and just a relationship builder here in Michigan. Enjoy your time here. I'm very biased, born and raised in the city of Detroit, representing it now in Congress. This is a place, out of any other place in America, that's had the opportunity to learn how to grow and respect and support those who are here from the Middle East. And I have been a strong advocate fighting for the respect and dignity of this administration, of these United States, of our amazing Middle Eastern population. So, Godspeed to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Faye. Good morning, honorable dignitaries, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. First, I'd like to extend a special thanks to Congresswoman Linda Lawrence for taking her time for being with us today. She's a great support, great lady. She's an asset to our city and our state. Also, I'd like to welcome His Excellency Senator Asa Haidar Murad, who's also the chairman of the Amman Chamber of Commerce. And thank you for being with us and taking these long trips across the seas. Also, in our presence here, Mr. Muhammad Bataina, the chairman of the MCHAM, successful businessman, who's also taken his personal time to be with us. Also, we would like to recognize Mr. Imad Jayzi, Deputy Chief Commissioner of Aqaba Special Economic Zone, and Mr. Bashar Abu-Rahman, Vice President of Aqaba Development Corporation. And all of you are equally important, and thank you for being with us, Detroit. So, for 25 years, the American Arab Chamber of Commerce has been building economic bridges by empowering and promoting its members locally, nationally, internationally. Thanks to the strong leadership of our board, the staff, and through the dedication of our members, the American Arab Chamber of Commerce is one of the largest and most influential business organization in the States, linking our community to our state and national governments, to our land of origin. With more than 1,400 members, the Chamber offers valuable benefits, services, and investment opportunities, as well as events and conferences to support and promote our member businesses. Internationally, the Chamber has made tremendous strides to promote exports and foster trade between U.S.-based companies and businesses located in the MENA region. And today we focus on doing business with Jordan. Our community has grown in number and strength. Today, Arab Americans number more than 550,000 in the state of Michigan, becoming the largest concentration of Arab Americans in the United States. There are more than 15,000 Arab American businesses in the Detroit area alone. They have created an economic impact of excess of $8 billion and employ more than 150,000 employees in the region. We take pride of the contribution of the Arab Americans to the economic development of this region. As I and as many of you in the audience look forward to hearing about opportunities that exist in Jordan, we are anxious about the partnership that we will develop. There's much potential for Michigan companies to grow and expand in various industries in Jordan. The key to success in Jordan, as with others in any global market, includes performing a thorough due diligence and finding the right partners. Today, we have began building the bridge by bringing all of us together. As the Arab American Chamber of Commerce, we will continue to develop relationships between Jordan and Michigan-based companies. This is just the beginning of the endless opportunities that can exist between the two regions. I would like personally to thank the American Chamber of Commerce in Jordan, the MCHAM, the Jordan Ministry of Industry, Trade and Supply, Jordan Investment Commission, and Aqaba Special Zone Economic Zone Authority, as well as the Jordan Chamber of Commerce and Industry. And we can never forget to recognize two dynamic individuals, the CEO of AmCham, Rose Allison, and her team, who are able to put the program across the seas, where a group of 35 people come into cities, into 3 cities and states, and that's amazing. And also, I obviously have to recognize my CEO, Faye Raghu, and our staff, who also have done an outstanding job, and very thorough, very thrilled with your presence. Again, thank you for being with us, and we look forward to have an informative forum and B2B meetings this afternoon.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. It's an absolute pleasure to be in Detroit, which yesterday we had the privilege and honor to actually drive through some of the streets of Dearborn. And it's truly a home away from home for an Arab American. We also had a reception where we listened to some lovely music and met some of the most wonderful people, truly patriotic Jordanian and Arab Americans who are both successful here as well as look to the old country or to where they came from with a lot of passion and a lot of loyalty and with hopes and aspirations to do a lot more than what's happening. I would like to start, of course, by thanking Mr. Ahmed Shaybani, my good friend, who we signed an MOU, or we re-signed an MOU together with this morning, and for Faye, of course, for preparing all of this. We are having a delegation under, of course, the leadership of His Excellency the Minister of Trade and Industry, who was with us in Chicago and in Washington, but had to fly back from Washington. And we thank, of course, Senator Issam Rad, who has been so kind to take enough time to be with us and to lead this delegation here in Detroit. We really recognize the importance that you as a society here have on American and the U.S. Policy, which is much needed these days. I was talking earlier to the Honorable Congresswoman Brenda Lawrence, who described to me how proud she is of the Arab community here and how influential they are and how much of a difference they can actually make towards making this the whole world actually a better place. As was mentioned earlier, we have a free trade agreement. Jordan has signed a free trade agreement with the United States, which was a game changer. And it actually increased the volume of trade by some 600 to 800 fold. And it's a win-win situation, as Secretary Kerry described at the U.S. Chamber in Washington. He said that he was using the Jordanian U.S. free trade agreement as an example of how a U.S. free trade agreement should work. However, we find that 80 to 83% of it is made up of garments, as the Senator described. And we think that this is nowhere near living up to its full potential, and there's a lot more that can be done. So we have created something which is known, we call the Tijara Coalition, which the AmCham put together, but it includes all the Jordanian chambers of industry, chambers of commerce, business associations, and of course interested and related entities. But most importantly, it's a true PPP, public-private partnership, where the government is involved, represented by the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Supply. And the idea of this Tijara Coalition, which actually this visit comes part of, is to enhance more U.S. And promote more U.S., Jordanian, and U.S. actually Middle Eastern, as we're part of MEA AmCham's trade. But this is something that we are committed to doing, as the United States today is Jordan's #1 trading partner, and we think that there is really a lot more room to grow. More importantly, that Jordan is positioned it's the only country that has borders with Syria and Iraq. It is, unfortunately, I say this with pain actually, that it's the only stable country in our immediate region But that also, out of this huge challenge, comes also a huge opportunity. The area around us needs to be rebuilt. It's estimated that the cost of rebuilding Iraq and then Syria and then Yemen and of course Libya is to be something like $2 trillion over the next few years. And Jordan is too small for that kind of endeavor, so we would need the help and support of U.S. Mainly international large companies to joint venture with Jordanians, and maybe you can be as ambassadors or involved in your various businesses to make sure that we are actually positioned to be part of that. Otherwise, it will be too late. And now is the right time to move on that. This trade mission is mainly made up of course, food producers, and we'd like to, and of course, the program you have in front of you, there is the business-to-business meetings, and we hope that that will start something, of course, with the community here, but I'm looking also at the bigger picture as well. I would like to, just so that I don't want to take too much of your time and leave time for the real business to be done, but I would just like to remind everyone that the current situation between Jordan and the United States has really never been better. Despite of, it's a bipartisan thing, despite of everything that's happening, Jordan continues to be looked at as a favorable country, as an ally, as a true ally, and I think there's a lot of room for us as businessmen to capitalize on that special agreement and move forward. I thank you all very much and wish that you have a successful day talking to our people who, I understand most of them are busy setting up their shops with their exhibitions right now, but in any case, if you need anything, please, we are always here as AmCham, as the Chambers of Industry, Trade, and I want to especially recognize before the valuable contribution of the Aqaba Special Economic Zone who took their time to be with us, His Excellency Mr. Ahmad Jazim, and also the Aqaba Development Company, and my good friend Mr. Bashar Abu Rumman. Thank you all very much, and we hope to see more of you today, over the next, today and tomorrow. Thanks.
Very good morning to everybody. I'm really very delighted to be here on behalf of the official delegation of Jordan and also the private delegation of Jordan, who are attending with us from the Chambers of Commerce and Industry and also from the manufacturing sector and service sector. I would like to stress about the relations between Jordan and US, which is considered to be a very important partner for both of us, and for us in Jordan, we are a very good stand and reputable and ally for the Americans in our region. Political situation has affected us badly, and you know the attitudes of Jordanians. We cannot say no for all of our neighbors that who have been in Jordan in the last 10 years. And this actually had a big burden in our budget. And in summary, I can tell you that half of the population of Georgians are our sincere, we say, families and relatives from the surrounding countries. We have now 1.5 Syrians, we have Iraqis, we have Egyptians, we have Libyans, we have Yemenis and Tunisians and many others. So see how much is this a big burden in Jordan. But at the end of the day, we are very happy for this because we are helping our relatives, our neighbors to survive and to have better life, inshallah, in the future, which we will, inshallah, witness all together a decent life for them, inshallah, when all of this will move on. We as a private sector, we have a big role now to play with partnership with the government, because our government cannot hold all of this. And this mission today, which we all joined together with AmCham to be here from all the private sectors, from the the chambers of commerce, chambers of industry, and SMEs associations and others, because we have to knock the door for having mutual cooperation for the future together. And this is our mission today here. We came to the United States. The United States is our main partner in Jordan. We have the best and the most successful agreement, which we have signed approximately 12 or 13 years ago. And I can tell you it is the best and the most successful agreement. So we should take advantage of it. We do have other agreements with the European Union, with Turkey, with Singapore, with Canada, all over, but we believe we have to stress. And we are here today in Michigan, in Detroit, because you are also very close to Canada. And what I've seen yesterday, me and Muhammad and my colleagues, a lot of cars going up like this. We could rely on you here on Michigan, so that we could also get benefit from both agreements, US agreements and the Canadian agreements. And this is why we are here with most reputable producers in Jordan. And we are very proud that we were able to open new channels in different countries, and I believe the United States and Canada will be a big opportunity for us. Me and my colleagues were very impressed yesterday and the day before yesterday, all during our mission, to see our sons, our relatives, our families, the Jordanians, are doing a great job here. And as Honorable Senator Brandon said about the Jordanians here, and we are very proud to know that our families and the Arab families, yesterday we had a tour to see how much now the Arab community is getting power and getting reputable situation. So we have to make use of it. Our address for you, we need to cooperate and to help us in having more channels. And this is our only chance. And if you look all over the world, nobody now is caring about others, so we care and we depend on you for opening for us in new channels. So if you look over also our investments for the Americans, or Jordanian Americans in Jordan, it is good. It's over 2.2 billion. And the same as I believe, it's more over here, more than this number in the States. From you guys who are with us, from you, our friends, our families who are here. So later on we'll have a session, we'll talk more in details about businesses, but our message to you from the government, from His Majesty, who's been in the States many times and he's meeting you guys. And yesterday I've been speaking to Mrs. Haifa Mahuri, and she was telling me about His Majesty visits, and we also always see that His Majesty also care about you. So we care about you as well, and we depend on you, and we hope that we can have more business opportunities through you, because of your country, Jordan, is in need of you, and also in need of our sincere friend from the United States of America. There's new opportunities, as Muhammad said, rebuilt, and we have to be there if this happens, inshallah, in the near future. Thank you all for coming today, and I hope to have successful meetings today, successful results, inshallah, in the near future. And we are very enthusiastic to repeat this again and again, inshallah, in the future. Thank you all.
and a lot of you, but nice to meet the rest, and hopefully we'll have a very positive discussion and positive conversation throughout the day. So know what Jordan has, what Jordan has to offer in terms of opportunity for both. It's got to be a win-win. The Jordanian delegation really understands that. A very professional team that we have here that represents the government, represents the businesses. And we're going to have now about 45 minutes where we will get an opportunity to ask our questions, have an open conversation where we get a better understanding of the art of the possible. So thank you again for being here, and I hope that you will be able to stick with us throughout the day. I just want to also acknowledge the role that the Jordanian Honorary Consulate did and presented in making this happen. The Honorary Consul of Jordan, Mr. Hayy Fakhoury, he is having medical health challenges as of yesterday. We know he wanted to be here. He had a major dental thing going on, so he still may be able to make it, as of right now. But let's just keep him in mind. He and the AACC did a fabulous job working with Faye and his team to make this happen. So we appreciate that. We appreciate the hard work that was done also in the past to make sure that the Jordan missions be successful here in Detroit. So that said, I also welcome the panel. I know that we did a lot of introductions, so I don't want to repeat the intros, but I'll throw out some questions to kind of guide the conversations and make sure that we all have valuable insight. What is the Jordanian point of view? And then give you guys a chance to ask questions about what's needed from you as potential investors, as business people. What are the things that needs to be done and can be done so we promote this relationship, we promote this partnership? So my first question actually would be to Senator Murad. And Senator Murad, with your experience in your government position as well, can you give us an opportunity to understand what is the current investment environment in Jordan? What does it look like? How are they, investors given access to that environment and can benefit from it? What is the broader macro level, if you will, business opportunity that exists in Jordan today? Yes, please.
Thank you, Khaled, and I'm very delighted to meet you yesterday that you will be a moderator to this event now. This is a very important question which you said about business and investment opportunities in Jordan and what we can get. Actually, lately Jordan have passed through economic growth which has been settled and agreed by the parliament, and we started with the EPP law, which was a very successful one as from our point of view, and the second one was the investment law. Now we are recently I think we will finish within 2 weeks the complex laws and other economic laws like tax laws, which will be rediscussed again probably by the end of this year. But it's already been settled, but we are asking as a private sector to have more privileges on the tax law. Now for FDI, which is foreign direct investment opportunities, our tax law, first of all, it guarantees all investments in Jordan, and I just want to assure you that our state was established in 1923. Till now, we didn't have any accident of overcoming any investment in Jordan. This is very important. We didn't have the government or anybody that has overcome or over-owned any investment in Jordan, although you know most of the investments in Jordan are now owned by foreign investors, and they have all the respect and all of the guarantee for the residents. So, for investments, we have in Jordan, and most of you maybe know, we have parts and regions in Jordan. We give free exemptions on custom duties, free exemptions on taxes, which is sales tax on all these projects, and it depends on the percentage of taxes according to the region that you are doing. We say governors in Jordan, governments. Muhafazat, like Hassan Muhafazat. So this is very important, so that we want to offer business opportunities in 5 governments. We have also very important region, which is Aqaba, and my colleagues will talk about it because it's one of the very promising, I'm saying very because it is very promising region in Jordan, and it is a very successful. Also, all of the revenues on these projects are exempted from taxes, and you can have all bank transfers in and out freely, and this is very important, my colleagues. You know, a lot of countries around us, they have promoted a lot about their investments, but they have very big problems in money movement, and also the currency exchange rate, and many they have lost a lot as a result of money exchange rate. So this is very important, which is you have to take into consideration. Our currency is Jordan, and Jordan, the Jordanian dinar, is very connected to US dollar. So this is very safe for you, and this will put you on a very reliable and relief situation that you don't care too much about your investment because your currency is very fixed to the US dollar. And also, for the any projects, the needs for the infrastructure for the projects or the products or the items you needed is freely exempted from all taxes, and this will lower the cost of the project. And this is very important because in Jordan, in summary, we have 20 to 30% custom duties and we have 16% sales taxes. You are exempted from this. So you are talking, if a project costs you 1 million, you are talking about from 25 to 30%, which is going to be perfect. Yeah. So this is one of the things that we could give on projects and investments, and we have a very successful situation in Jordan for investments because we have development and then we have free zones. We have 16 free zones and we have more than 8 to 10 development zones. And this is very successful in the region, especially in Jordan, and most of the neighboring countries and the Arab countries, they have taken into consideration our experience to implement them in their regions. And this could give you also more free situation of how to deal with businesses where you want to go in the free zones or the development zone, and each one of them, they have different structure of taxes. And by the way, development zones, you could find it inside of money. So this is very important also for how to operate Europe, especially for when we talk about service sector, most of them, they are using the development zones inside of that. This is a summary of and if everybody wants to go into details for certain projects, I'm very ready to specificate and give him the right answer because there are different sectors and different projects, so you have to have very different
Thank you, Senator. Thanks, Senator. And you're going to be around with us all day.
Yes.
So if there will be any further questions, but before we give you a break, Senator, and we're trying to have a frank conversation here, right? Well, I'm sure there is no perfect place for investment. There's ups and downs, positives and negatives, right? From the perspective of import-export, not necessarily starting a new business in there, is that also being taken care of? I know His Majesty the King is promoting Jordan heavily. I would call him, he's the chief marketing officer for the country of Jordan, doing a fantastic job. He's always tweeting about Jordan and the U.S. relationships and even the European relationships. So it's just really on us to kind of own and deliver, right? But I mean, from your perspective, is the export-import side, which probably some of the audience will be interested in that, is that also as kind of advantageous to do with Jordan compared to others?
This is also very true. We are in the middle of MENA region, and Jordan is a hub for Iraq and for travel in the future for Syria and other neighboring countries. You'll be astonished if I tell you, cars industry is very important in the Jordanian free zones, and we are exporting a lot of cars to the neighboring country, not only to Iraq, but to Saudi Arabia, to UAE countries, to Syria, to Libya, to Egypt from Jordan. So this is why we have, if you know, Zarqa free zone, it's mainly for cars, and we are exporting a lot of cars. Now, if we talk about export and import, we have local exports and re-export, so both of them are talking about in dollars, more than $10 billion is re-export and export in Jordan. And this is very important, and a lot of companies, they are considering Jordan also for re-export hub. So Recently, we had some obstacles and some difficulties and challenges because of the border of Iraq. But we are trying with our government, and His Majesty, actually, you had mentioned him, had visited Africa a couple of times. And now we are working on new...
Now I'd like to welcome to the stage to say a few words on behalf of the American Arab Chamber, about the American Jordanian Chamber of Commerce, the chair.
After our free trade agreement. But as a matter of fact, we are, let us say, looking for new markets to subsidize what we have lost in the Arab and the Iraqi market. Recently, now we have some information that after 1 week there will be new operations for opening the Iraqi borders. But I'll give you numbers. Our exports, Jordanian main exports, exceeds 7 billion to 8 billion US dollars. We do have a decrease in the percentage of our export recently because of the political situation by about 15%. But I assure you, as regard what we have been facing in Jordan, it's a big percentage. If you look, all the borders are closed around, but we are doing the business, and it's a big challenge for the Jordanian private sector, for our government, but thanks to God we are able to do it. Our re-export has went down as well, but we are looking for new channels and new way of growth. We are depending very much on Aqaba, because it's our gateway for our exports and imports. But if you look over, I believe we are having continuous growth. Last year we have 2.3 growth, and this is a big challenge for us, but we did it. This year we hope that we will have also another growth in the economy, and this will lead to better results.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, Senator. Mr. Botani, being the chairman of the board for the American Chamber of Commerce in Jordan, you probably have a more laser focus on the industries, the key industries that have the most opportunities in Jordan. So can you spend some time on, I know we have garment business between the United States and Jordan, and it's probably, I think it was mentioned that it formed about 80% of our business between the United States and Jordan. What other things do you see, potential for businesses to expand, right? So we're happy with the 80% pie, right? But what can we do to the 20%? What can we do to increase that, right? And have, a better opportunity for the Jordanian economy?
Thank you, Kai. And I'll just follow up from where His Excellency Mr. Murad left off. Actually, we all know, it's a known fact that there's a huge challenge. Jordan is being challenged in many ways. But again, as I said earlier, out of that challenge comes a lot of opportunities, and we have a lot of perfect examples of people succeeding or companies succeeding in Jordan in sectors that are truly amazing, that they have actually accomplished that. And this is where we, at the Tijara Coalition, which I mentioned earlier, has been formed, we have formed this coalition with one aim in sight, and that is to diversify exports. And by diversification, we mean that the garment industry has been a good success story. It has elevated the numbers and increased the trade volume, but we think that there's a lot more value added for Jordan in the diversification and going into other sectors in particular. Just to look at some of the sectors we're talking about, if we take, for example, or Petra or Aramex, they're actually today traded on the New York or London Stock Exchange with phenomenal success stories. And these are in the fields of, the pharmaceuticals or the engineering projects or the logistics and what have you. We at the Chamber think that it is not actually, I wouldn't be really exaggerating if I think we can actually over the next couple of years or maybe 3 years double this already success story of $3.4 billion in terms of volume trade between the two countries. And we have to recognize that over the past 12 years or so, from maybe 14 now, they actually moved from a near $400 or $500 million trade volume to a $3.4 billion. What's more important is that today it is balanced. which means it used to be 90% importing from the United States to Jordan and 10% exporting. Today it's 50-50. As a matter of fact, the last trade balance was in Jordan's favor by about 100 million, which is actually a sign of health and a win-win situation. So I mentioned the chemical sector, of course. You've got the Arab Potash and the bromine, which is an American investment, a foreign direct investment by Alba Marley, and that's also posed to look for grow. In the IT sector, which is another huge area, and where Jordan has an advantage. You'll be surprised to know that around 80% of the Arabic content on the internet is of Jordanian origin. And we have companies like, for example, just lately, last month or a couple of months ago, Souk.com was bought by Amazon for something in the neighborhood of $600 million. Before that, the Maktub was bought by Yahoo, and we have many examples. His Majesty, who's, as you very well described, our Chief Marketing Officer, is actually very aware of that. I started in an incubator, or the incubator concept. I was together with His Majesty on a trip to Silicon Valley, where we visited Plug and Play, and he very much loved that idea. It's being actually implemented in Jordan. Oasis 500 is an example of an attempt at doing something similar with great and variable successes. Jordan continues to be a major exporter of mines. The human being, as His late Majesty Hussein said, the human being or the Jordanian is the most valuable asset that Jordan has, and we hope to actually continue to capitalize on that. The renewable energy sector is a huge also opportunity in Jordan. Jordan has taken a lead by putting the right laws into place. Today, my son actually, who's an environmental engineer, works for a good friend of ours who is doing a wind energy project. And that project is 219 megawatts. It is the biggest renewable energy project, not only in Jordan, but in the whole region, including the East Mediterranean. And the photovoltaic, the PVs, the concentrated solar power, there is tremendous work to be done there. Her Excellency, the Honorable Congresswoman this morning, Fred Dolores mentioned the Red Dead, a project very dear to my heart because I was actually part of the group formed by a royal decree by His Majesty to come up with a vision for Aqaba. Today we have with us, for example, Mr. Abdurrahman, of course His Excellency, Mr. Hijazin, who can attest to that becoming a reality today. Part of that project was the Red Dead. Today, thanks to our friends in the United States, they have put in the seed money, 100 million to start with. Then the donors came in, there's another 3, so we have 400 million, and the project looks like it's finally going to break ground. That is a huge opportunity also for desalination, which is invested in the nexus of water, energy, and food being built around that project. I can't, of course, cover all of all the aspects. Just to mention, let's also remember that besides the FTA, which we talked about, Jordan is already signed with the Greater Arab Free Trade Agreement, the Arab Trade Agreement, the European, with the EU, with Singapore, with Canada. So once you are in Jordan or throughout Jordan, you can actually work also capitalizing on the other agreements that each one actually adds on to the formula, besides, of course, having a bilateral investment treaty with the United States, and, of course, Jordan, as you know, has ascended to the WTO in 2000, which also opens a lot of opportunities for them. In the foreign direct investment, Jordan today enjoys a $2.2 billion investment coming mainly from AAS and energy. So they are the producers of traditional energy, but they have just gone into renewable as well, and they're putting up a huge unit that will produce, if I'm not mistaken, 200 megawatts or something like that. I can't remember the number exactly. Cargill is another big investor in the foods and feed fodder. Pepsi and Coca-Cola, of course, have been there for ages now. They made Jordan their home and they service the area out of Jordan. And as I mentioned, the total volume is around 2.2 billion, which is sizable and much needed for the Jordanian economy. I mentioned earlier our cooperation with the JIC, the Jordan Investment Commission, as the one-stop shop that, so His Majesty is so interested in actually to answer your question, Kai, bring in, trade into the country, that he appointed a minister. We've never had that before, Minister of Investment. And of course that is, and he in his also capacity heads the Jordan Investment Commission, which is a one-stop shop, making it easier for those who want to start businesses in Jordan to do so. Let me stop here and leave really more time for interaction. I thank you again, Kai, for your question, and I hope I've answered some of your.
Thank you for the time. You answered a lot of them. Actually, I want to add a data point that I just found myself, and I posted it on Facebook because I was so proud of it. And it was actually published by a paper. It's called Ra'y al-Yawm, which is really not that friendly to Jordan for those people who know it. But it was published that 60% of Jordanians under the age of 30 have a minimum of a college degree, bachelor degree. 60% of the people under the age of 30. And that is just an amazing statistics. So when His Majesty and when even the Father King used to say the most valuable asset of Jordan is actually the Jordanian person. That is how we translate that, and that's an opportunity for any investment. No one will go to Jordan looking for skilled people, and I'm a technologist, so I feel even more strongly about saying that. They will be short of the right skill, the right people, the educated people that can actually drive that. So thank you, Your Excellency, Mr. Botani. You touched on the policies, so I think I was going to ask you about potential policies, but you already, I think, answered. His Majesty now has appointed or created a Minister for Investment. That means a lot of work is coming, because really promoting investment is an ongoing process. It never ends, because the market dynamics keeps moving, right? You need to know how to respond to it. So thank you for that. Moving on to Dr. Imad and Mr. Roman about this place in Jordan is so unique. We call Aqaba. It is one of our the treasure in Jordan, right? We try different things in there and we promote it heavily. There's a lot of projects, a lot of initiatives. So I'm not going to steal your thunder. I know Dr. Imad and Mr. Roman Bashar, you guys have a lot to tell us about the economic zone in Aqaba, what can it offer here, and the Jordanian government, the Jordanian private sector driving this jewel on the Red Sea. So you have the floor. Dr. Imad, you start.
Thank you, Mr. Kaid, and good morning, everybody. Actually, talking about business and investment, first of all, we have to talk about a platform of stability. And Jordan represents actually the right place of peace, moderation, and stability in the Jordan. And since His Majesty the King assumed his responsibilities back to 1999, actually, he looks to how to transform Jordan into a model of sustainable development. And this political will has been transformed early 2000 in the region of Aqaba, on transforming Aqaba into a business hub and a tourism destination for on the Red Sea. Actually, what makes Aqaba unique is first of all, the access to 3 continents, 5 countries, the business incentives, the cultural and natural assets that enrich its tourism product. Actually, talking about Aqaba, I cannot maybe make it better than our technical and development arm, which is our daughter company, the AACC, the Aqaba Development Corporation. And let me give the floor to my colleague, Mr. Bashar Abdurrahman, who is the CEO of AACC, Aqaba Development Corporation, and he's also the CEO of the Aqaba Airport Company.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Well, it gives us great pleasure to be here in Detroit with the sense of partnership that we have felt in the U.S. After finishing 2 legs of this place. Chicago was extremely promising, also Washington, and here in Detroit also to us. It is extremely interesting and honored to be here with you. Let me just start by summarizing what 16 years now? 16 years of planning and development, partnerships, investments have done to us in the only access to Jordan to open seas in that location, in that part of the world. When you have logistics, infrastructure, real estate, the tourism, foreign direct investments, all are assembled in one place under a simple regime. Basically, it's a special economic zone. This cries out the concept of location. So location was the key for the success, as was planned back in 2000, through also partnership with US firms, planners, and one of the KPIs for the success of our special economic zone is to be able to anchor investments based on these derivatives. And now we can safely state that we have up to 20 billion signed, committed investments in Aqaba Special Economic Zone that compiles our investment line. This immediately reflects on the master plan that was developed for Aqaba, starting from the southern tip of Aqaba, southern tip of Jordan, which is immediately adjacent to Saudi Arabia, for those who do not know Aqaba and just can picture the map. We have there our ports portfolio that is immediately adjacent to the industrial zone for heavy industries that require port accessibility. Coming all the way up to the northern tip of Aqaba, which we have the Aqaba International Airport, King Hussein International Airport actually, which is an international airport that operates under open skies policy. Between them, the master plan depicted that it should be a business and leisure hub. It should not be just a free zone, where free zones, I think all of us know, ghost cities. No, it's a living, breathing city that should develop and enhance in population, and that also was one of the KPIs at the time. So the KPI stated that we should be by 2020 150,000. Now I think we are 188,000.
Yeah, about 90.
At least, yes, almost 190. So all the measurements are just crying out success when it comes to Aqaba. This means that we need to look now at what does that create in terms of opportunity, in terms of its accessibility. And as Dr. Imad just stated, that Aqaba sits exactly at the center of 3 continents and 5 countries, and also acts as a launching platform under the globalization concept of market accessibility into the region and beyond. It also hosts success stories in innovation. His Majesty King Abdullah, when he started this initiative in Amman, it was copied in Aqaba through His Royal Highness Conference. We have something called the Gaming Lab, that is innovation in technologies. The Gaming Lab is an articulated software that allows children from 8 years old up to 30 years of old to create games for smartphones. And I think one of our lads in that sector is working now with NASA. So this brings to our attention what kind of partnership we have, the ability to excel, how can we meet on targets and achieve them. Coming back to the launching platform concept, we have an international airport that operates under open skies policy, reflects all what is required from ICAO in terms of security and operational requirements, and capable of servicing up to 2 million passengers at that area, but also subject to development under a master plan that has triggers. And we have a ports portfolio that has been transformed from 1 port in Jordan into 32, they will be 32 by 2000. Now it's 28 in 2018, there will be 32 specialized berths operating under best international practices through partnerships with AP Miller, with AMSCO, with the best operators there are in the world, so that we can deliver with excellence and optimization. This means that that location with the stability renders Jordan is the best launching platform for market accessibility, also to rebuild Iraq, rebuild Syria through partnerships with interested firms in the US. I think with this, that's a good start.
That's fantastic, actually.
Thank you, sir.
And it makes us feel a lot better when you say the rebuilding of Iraq is good, because we really want an end to this mess, honestly. We all want that, right? Because it's just what's going to move the region, what's going to make people live safer and better. It's a great opportunity for everybody. So thanks for highlighting that. But I still want to ask you a question about the 20 billion. I think you threw this number that said there's already plans and contracts and projects in place worth of 20 billion, right?
Yeah.
And in my view, when you build a project, let's say again, when you put in an airport, that's a simple example, maybe that's part of 20 billion, but that will actually drive you more businesses, because you need potentially housing you need potentially mechanical engineers for maintenance, you need a lot of things. What's the view of what is this 20 billion, right, is going to drive over the next, let's say, 5 or 10 or 20 years? Is there a view of that? Has there been any analysis? Can it drive some of that?
Yes, definitely. When I said the 20 billion, that reflects the investment pie.
Okay.
Which is diversified, as Mr. Botani stated. The diversification goes from logistics, real estate, tourism, industries, light industries. That's the investment pie. And an example for this from the real estate business is that before we had the mega projects in the zone, we never had a facility management company registered in Accra. So that created a market. And a couple have entered into our zone as facility management companies because in real estate projects, native community projects, which is also a new concept in Jordan. First time that was applied in Accra. It means that when I'm buying this place, I'm buying it with its landscape, I'm buying it with the vision that I bought it with, and I need to be maintained at the same level that I have bought it with under that regime. And that created a market which is called facility management. Of course, when we have anchored investments that are now being developed under $20 billion cap at this stage, this creates markets, this creates businesses, added value services. Look at the LNG terminal. The first time we have received, before we were dependent on the LNG that was passing through the Red Sea from Egypt. After the turmoil that's happening, with ISIS just blowing up every now and then that pipeline, this affected immediately our stability and security. And again, through applying and implementing a master plan that was honestly brought into existence by think tanks, we reflected on that by building our own LNG terminal. And amazingly enough, we added value to this, and now we're exporting the surplus to Egypt. So this is something that, it's a chain that is ever evolving. Yeah.
It's called reversing the pipeline.
Exactly. Reversing the pipeline. Believe me, we all follow the news of what's going on there inside. So
it's again, when you say it's a land of opportunity, I think this is underestimated here at the States. But it's something that not underestimated. It's when we say it in the States, it's to us we feel it because in Aqaba, we honestly it's a land of opportunity.
Right. Dr. Ahmed, anything to add?
Yes, I just wanted to highlight maybe something related to the majority of these investments in Aqaba, which is tourism actually, because up to date, maybe all in Jordan, not only in Aqaba, is the tourism is just, we can be what's so-called the classical tourism to Jordan, but the region of tourism in Aqaba, and that's why maybe 50% of investment in real estates and hotels and industry in Aqaba right now, in order, because of the new vision of tourism in Aqaba, where we are going to have to diversify the tourism product in Aqaba, MICE, adventure, health, sports, water, etc. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ahmed. I appreciate this great insight about what's going on in Aqaba in particular. Mr. Batani, back to you. Your Excellency, when we talk about Syria and Iraq, right? Those are big bites as well. And sometimes there will be a lot of projects, huge ones, especially Syria, right? Is there any kind of partnerships planned on a country level? Like Jordan working with, for example, the Lebanese government, with the Egyptian government, projects that they plan, or the grand vision, if you will, from Jordan and other very influential neighboring countries that you think would influence, the investments and actually would be of interest to the audience here.
Yes. Thank you. Actually, we had, as I mentioned earlier, with us the Minister of Industry and Trade, who was asked a similar question, either in Chicago or in Washington, I can't remember. And he went into the number of times that he has actually visited Iraq and Baghdad lately. And he actually accompanied with him some of us businessmen. I think the Senator was actually on one, or at least on one or two of those trips. And that has been very useful, because there is as you know, the eastern provinces of Diyala and Bar Salah ad-Din are tied with Jordan by kinship. The same tribesmen in the east of Jordan actually are the same families, so they are connected. I'm not talking about sectorial religion, but I'm talking about real kinship. And you know how important that is for us. So they look to Jordan as their support. The Iraqis are very interested, of course, in the Jordan connection. The major thing now that we're talking about is a major, and it's going to be signed, I believe, around any day now, maybe in a couple of weeks, is a U.S. company that has been actually awarded the contract of rehabilitating the road, making it safe and doing some maintenance on it, which is the highway between Jordan and Iraq. That will go a long way. But the major project that really will tie Iraq to Jordan, and that can be a platform to start other businesses, is the pipeline, which has already been agreed upon. And actually there are two pipelines, one for petrol, one for oil, and one for gas, linking the oil fields in the south of Iraq to Aqaba. And that will create a lot of industries around them. So yes, there are a lot of arrangements between the two countries. I mean, here I'm talking about the Iraqi situation. With regard to Syria, we have an enormous amount of refugees, anywhere from 1.2 to 1.45 million refugees, Syrian refugees in Jordan. And the Jordanians, as you know, because some of you, of course, know are Jordanians, are, I think, one of the, and I say this maybe with a little bit of bias as a Jordanian, I think we're probably the most welcoming nation on earth. It started with the people running from the Bolsheviks, the Circassians, who are now very much integrated in the society, and حتى يسموا عشيرة الشراكسي. And then you've got also after that the Armenians ran away from the Ottomans, Christian, they came also to Jordan, found refuge there. Followed by the Palestinian exodus, and over something like half of our population are Palestinian origin. Then of course the Lebanese at some time, the Iraqis, the expats during the first Gulf War, and then now the Syrians. And I think it comes from that culture, the Bedouin culture of, when you're not, if you visit a Bedouin, they're not supposed to ask you why you were there for the first 3 days. Before they ask you actually why you were there in the first place. So that culture has actually stemmed into this Jordan being open. Now in that diversification, although this is a huge challenge, puts Jordan in a position whereby if you were to do anything in Syria, you already have a lot of Syrians who call Jordan home and have been part of the economy there. So that is easy. As an American trying to, for example, an American company, Turner Construction, came to us and they said, look, we need to do these projects in Iraq. They joint venture with a company that I'm involved with to actually use our architects and engineers and workers to go into Iraq because they couldn't go in, while we can go in much easier. And Jordan, because of the wisdom of His Majesty and the wisdom of the leadership, we really have no blood on our hands. We really have, and we are acceptable to to anybody. So we maintain this balance, which is very, very important for us and puts us in a position to go into that reconstruction. Add to it, as was mentioned earlier, engineers, the highest PhDs per capita, including some of the European countries, for example. And we have a lot of examples where if we apply that to what's happening, Jordan becomes an obvious stepping stone or platform of which to actually start something that's much bigger than Jordan. That's why we want our friends. And we call, of course, and we look at the United States as Jordan's main and true friend and partner in the region. And with your help as, expatriates here, I think we can do even a better job there.
Great, thank you, Mr. Pani. That was really great insight. Yeah, we'll have, Mali, thank you. We'll have some time for questions. I just want to make sure that there's a little bit of a landscape I need to cover, right? Mr. Your Excellency, Mr. Murad, you're a senator, and you're close to the chambers that make decisions in the country, big decisions, and have big views, and they know what's going on the international stage. And I know Jordan is actually going through some major transformation. His Majesty published the discussion articles about moving the country toward more and more closer as a country of law. The role of the Constitution, we have elections coming up, the decentralization that's happening now. We have this concept of Dawla al-Madaniyya. I don't know if that's translated to secular or civil, say whatever. But all of these are actually promoters of more business and more openness. So people will go to Jordan having no doubt that I will be having issues based on religious views of mine or the other party or a tribal situation that I have to deal with. All of these things are just music to our ears, what's going on in Jordan. So I would ask you for your insight. What do you see happening here? How is the society moving toward that, and how is that really influencing the whole investment environment? I'm personally very thrilled to see all this happening, but definitely your insight is key here.
This is very important, actually, and well, I'll tell you something. First of all, Jordan is in the middle of and if you follow up the news, you will feel that it's a hell in Jordan as well. But it's not a hell, it's a heaven. But when you hear that Jordan or Amman is 150 or 180 exactly kilometers from Damascus, it's, if you take it from Jerusalem to Amman, it's 40 kilometers.
As the crow flies.
Yeah.
So it's, we say Madrab al-Asr. It's very close, but even us in Amman, when we hear a lot of things on Facebook or other media, we feel that we are, something goes wrong in the country, but actually this is exaggeration. And I'll tell you, most of the press people in Jordan, or not in Jordan, the international press companies and press, they are located in Jordan. So all of these press goes into the channel and they say, see XXX Amman. So this gives some impression that this is a very suspicious country, what's going on there.
Right.
And many times we hear that there is demonstrations or there is, like here.
We'd probably have more here than
Yes, more and we hear on it, but we don't see anything. And this comes everywhere, and it does everywhere. The first day we were in our embassy in Washington, and I saw a lot of cars, Jordanian cars, and I said, why? They said, we have to do this because opposite of the Jordanian embassy is the Chinese embassy. And on the Chinese embassy, every couple of days there is a demonstration on the Chinese embassy. Every time they come with different things. So this happens. But I'll tell you that in Jordan you mentioned it's a state of law. And law is very well respected in Jordan. Whatever, even if Prime Minister, we stop, His Majesty stops on traffic light. From this, you could imagine, there is nobody above the law. Nobody above the law. You could hear something here and here, and this is as a regard, and actually, we are facing some problems with this because of media correspondences, which has become, like everyone now is a press and media, because everyone can take a shot and just spread it, but it's not as real. So I reconfirm to you, the country of Jordan is a country of law and institutions as well. We are coming now to a new role of having what you call that governance. His Majesty was talking about it since many years. There was disputes about this, but we have to go with this. We have to try this. We have a success story about this. We have Aqaba, for example. It's a very big success story. So why don't we have different governments, and each government should look for its own opportunities and benefits. And this is, from my point of view, we have not to look for centralization, we have to look for
Perfect. If I may just add one word to what His Excellency said. Actually, Jordan, besides, of course, a country of institutions, it's an open economy with open bank system, and it's a land of law whereby you can. It's also a land where you have, or a country that is doing very well on the IPR laws, intellectual property rights. Hence, the capacity to do IT work and IT successes and so forth. So add that atmosphere as a whole, and besides, of course, it being it's a truly civil country whereby we don't have any preferences or any tribal issues, mainly, or religious issues or what have you. Yes, we have them. We have Christians in Jordan and Muslims, but everybody lives in harmony, and the rule of law is what governs everybody, regardless of where you come from or what your religion is or what your background is. And that's one of the reasons that Jordan has managed to succeed over the years.
Thank you, Mr. Butani, and I would actually kind of keep you on the stage for the concept of the decentralization, because my understanding of it, and because of historical reasons, Amman, probably, and a couple of other major cities, kind of got the lion portion, if you will, for development and investment. And the way I understand the reason behind the decentralization is that now you will have budgets, right, in different areas of the country, the south and the north and all that, and there's probably potential for great development projects, and that translates to our audience here, business opportunities, right? So if you would like to...
Let me just... I'm also in a chair of Jordan, which is Jordan Development for Enterprises, and we have a fund called Government Fund.
Okay.
And His Majesty is very keen to have the success of this one. Now, within the new regime which we are going to, that decentralization, I think these governments now should look better on how to make use of this actually funds. Because in the past, we were looking for them what to do, but now they have to choose what they have to do. And I believe this is going to be also a better chance for also not concentration of all economy, all
right. So everybody gets the benefit of the development.
And we don't have to concentrate everything on the capital of Amman, because this is also having now a big burden on the economy and the business opportunities.
Fantastic, fantastic. Mr. Butani, the last question I want to ask before we open the floor for questions is about, you mentioned Coke, I think. You mentioned cargoes as some of the companies that are already investing. Cargo, the Jordan, right? What else has been done in terms of attracting these huge conglomerates to the business environment? And will that reflect on, or what is the view on how is that going to reflect on the unemployment situation in Jordan? Because that will be definitely a growth factor.
Let me start in reverse, actually. Jordan does suffer from a very high unemployment and made only worse by the challenge of having more refugees. So officially, the unemployment today stands at 18%, which we really need to do something about. Jordan has recognized the importance of foreign direct investment. It has created all kinds of laws and incentives for businesses to come to Jordan. However, as a businessman, and I'm sure you agree with me here, is that companies don't go to another because of the incentives. They go there because of the business. The incentives are actually, in addition, an icing on the cake. So yes, I can talk to you about special laws and special development reasons, and all that is great. But actually, the business opportunities that are existing in Jordan today and are about to happen actually is what is attracting or what is getting the attention of some of these companies. And we are trying not to miss that opportunity by actually putting it out on the table, making it clear to them as to what these opportunities are. And they are tremendous in all areas, in all fields. Hence our effort in diversification and not concentrating on the few things that we know already do work. But the expatriation, one of the things that, and today you can own a company 100% in many areas as a foreign investor. So that helps a lot. So you find a lot of companies actually relocating now in Jordan, not only for the safety and security, but also actually for the ease of going in and out. And that is exactly where Jordan really benefits, and that's the advantage that Jordan has over the other countries in the region.
Beautiful. Thank you, Mr. Botani. Now I think we used up our time for the presentation portion, and I would like to open the floor up for about 10 to 15 questions. What I would ask you to do, if you will, when you stand up, just kind of state your name and your role, because we have a diverse audience here, and direct your question to one of our distinguished presenters, or just throw the question and then we'll kind of identify who can answer it. I think I'll start with Mr. Jaidan.
Well, my name is Walid Jaidan. I'm the CEO of MEA TV, Middle Eastern American TV. We broadcast in the US and Canada.
Thank you.
I have a strong voice. In US and Canada, and we are the only TV that exists for the 26 years in US and Canada. I welcome the delegation, and I thank the Arab American Chamber of Commerce for hosting conference like this, which is very important to keep the bridges between the community, the Arab American community in US and Canada and the Arab world, and especially Jordan. And we applaud you for taking the refugees and taking the burden, and we thank you so much because the community in US have a lot of probably friends and relative part of those refugees. So thank you. In US and Canada, there is over 6 million Arab American, very strong purchase power, very important business community to the US and Canada. What are you doing to reach this community? And we know you have a great opportunity for tourism, medical tourism, the free zone, the free investment, the free trade between Jordan and US. This community, as I mentioned, a very strong business community. What are you doing in US to reach a good part of those 6 million? Because if you're looking for investment, and especially taking the situation in the Middle East, especially in Iraq, Syria, even Libya, Yemen, and even Egypt, unstable. I think the only stable country around there, besides the Gulf state, is Jordan. What are you taking to have Jordan to be the hub of the Arab American when they go visit their friend and their relative to come to Jordan, and then from Jordan go, if it's possible, anywhere else. And by this communication, you're going to create a lot of investment. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jaidan. I appreciate it. Senator, Mr. Biden.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Walid Jaidan. It's really First of all, I thank you for your question. It's very important. This is why we're here. This is what this mission is all about. It's actually reaching out to the Arab Americans, as you said. However, I want to confess that we haven't done enough. We've done a lot of good work, especially, His Majesty has really done a wonderful job in communicating or getting in touch with those. But the follow-up has been sporadic and scattered. And therefore, we are actually taking a new attitude going forward. And that is, we want to enhance the re-signing of the agreement or the MOU we did this morning with various cities and areas, so that we actually have a permanent presence and that we, in those areas, and that we actually continue to follow up in reaching the expatriates or the Arab community in the United States and beyond. We recognize the importance and the influence that this Arab community has. We think it's a great opportunity, and we welcome from you any suggestions that you think would actually help in that cause, because we have sensed with great pride your very strong connection. We've met people in Chicago and here who were actually born here, yet they are more Jordanian than many Jordanians, or more Arabs than many Arabs that we know. So that's a great thing to have, and that's a lot of loyalty. We can really capitalize on that. I mentioned earlier the Tijara Coalition, which actually has one of its main objectives is to reach out to the community. That's why we chose Chicago in this trip. Washington, because of obvious reasons, being State Department and Commerce and government and what have you. But we chose Detroit and Chicago as the two steps, and that is why, because of the Arab community that exists here. Future, actually, we're going to go by sector, state by state, reaching out to also expats throughout the United States and North America, especially with that in mind. We are seriously looking at having a permanent or a semi-permanent exhibition of Jordanian goods, also to be set up in in these great cities of Detroit and Chicago and others. But again, as I said, we really welcome any ideas that you have. We, of course, encourage you to contact us as this coalition of all these chambers of industry and trade, including AmCham, to facilitate, your mission. And I'm sure, it starts with contacts, and it also starts with knowledge. So we'd like to supply you with, because we have a very good database of information, of numbers, of opportunities. We encourage you to reach out for us as well, to know about these things and recognize these opportunities. And you have an advantage over somebody who doesn't know anything about the region. That's why we encourage you to actually take the lead in reaching out to us in Jordan, so that we can help you and help ourselves go forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Botani. I would just put a plug quickly for Mr. Jadam, because he's one of the strongest Jordanian advocates. He's a very good, strong Jordanian friend, and he gets a lot of Jordanian speakers on his program, so we appreciate that. Well, I just want to be sure that I acknowledge that. Senator, I know you would like to add something on this.
We will be very pleased to extend an invitation through American Arab Chamber of Commerce also to attend two conferences in Amman by the end of September. One is the Arab-African business opportunities, and in the second day also Gulf Jordanian business opportunities. So this is what is going to be also a good chance to have an overview of projects in the region.
Excellent.
So we will extend an invitation tomorrow to Muhammad, and Muhammad will extend it to you, and we will be very pleased to have all of you, as much number as, and we will arrange other things with Muhammad. So this will also answer you, because we need to talk regionally now, okay? And I just want to emphasize that we don't need in our region competition industries. We need the
Expand the pie.
No, also completion
Right.
of industries, and this is what we are preparing.
Therefore, thank you, Senator. Any other questions from the audience? Farhan and Ahmed.
Good morning. My name is Fred Karachi. I'm a proud American of proud Jordanian descent. I'm a real estate agent by profession of an engineering background. I just wanted to shed some, or if you could shed some light on the memorandum of understanding that you signed today, this morning. As far as if I'm an entrepreneur and I'm interested in doing business in Jordan, what is the advantage of me tagging on to this memorandum of understanding, referencing it, or going directly and doing business with the Jordanian community or somebody on the other side of the pond? So that's question one. Question two is the intellectual property question. I know you said you have strong laws in Jordan, and there's nobody that can dispute that. But as far as a business person going to do business in Jordan, do we have a strong patent law established at this point that if I bring a product over there and it does good within 6 months or within a year, there isn't 5 different, fabricated, fake products with the same label, being produced or diluted in the market? So can you just give me some information about that? If it's not the right time for it, we can have a sidebar if you have time during the break.
Yeah, that's an excellent question for Ham. Thank you.
Yes.
Mr.
Thank you very much. Excellent 2 questions actually. If you can do business directly with Jordan not using us, that means we have succeeded. So absolutely. By us, I don't mean AmCham or the American Arab. I'm talking about any of our organizations. We, as you know, we don't get paid to do what we do. We do this because we believe in it. I'm talking about the board members and of these chambers. And we believe in it strongly, and we are out there to help you, but it's always easier to work through us. Not always, but I mean, you can find a lot of the data banks that we have, our digital community, our workshops, our facilitation of two-way trade delegations, entering the market, taking you by the hand to actually even, to advocate public advocacy should you have problems and so forth, is where we find that you will benefit from a strong arrangement between the chambers of commerce. That's what they do traditionally. And of course, we're associated with the U.S. Chamber as AmCham, which means we have access to all the other chambers. And being part of the MEA AmChams, you also have access to our sister chambers in the region to work out of Jordan. And there are 14 countries that have signed to that. And Jordan, by the way, this year is the chairman of the joint AmChams of the MEA AmChams, which put us actually in the limelight and put us in where we can help. IPR, Jordan has done a wonderful job in actually not only putting into effect an IPR law, a modern one, but it actually works beautifully. You can come into Jordan, you can register, this will protect you fully. And that is the main reason why a lot of companies actually choose Jordan, because that is when they feel fully protected. Yes, of course, I mean, you can still go downtown and find some CDs that are copies and what have you. A lot of people associate IPR with that. And that is something that is, sort of like, it happens, everywhere. And with time, it will be taken care of. It's an attitude thing. But but when we're talking about IPR as it applies to, registering a brand or registering an idea, or that it's working very, very well. And I encourage you to get in touch with one of our good people here that have come with us to give you more and shed more light on exactly how that law applies, how long does it take to register, and how well it is working. But Jordan has been commended and has been ranked actually one of the, I can't remember exactly, but a good rating in terms of applying IPR laws. Hence, the accession to the WTO happened in a smoother way than was expected because of the fact that we actually, as a country, did so well on implementing the intellectual property rights laws.
Great, thank you. Your Excellency? I have, please.
Hello everyone, my name is Ahmed Masal. I'm a real estate consultant we work for the same firm, Fred and I, and Hassan. I would like to welcome you to the state of Michigan on behalf of myself and the Jordanian American Community Association too. As American Jordanian, we know that to pay taxes in every income we may have. And the question arises with every investor we're talking to about Jordan, the place to invest, We're really talking about this proudly, and we're promoting this in every aspect. The question arises about the taxation code in Jordan. Is the investors going to be subject to double taxation, where they pay taxes on their income in the United States and in Jordan, or is any clarification on this something that will help us to promote more and more of our Jordanian products? Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Rafani,
Thank you, Ahmed, very much. And I appreciated the conversation we had earlier this morning together. And I'm impressed at the things you've done 17 years ago when you don't look that old. So I want the secret and what do you eat here? I'm sure it's not the good food we had yesterday at Shatina. I think that was it. The double taxation law has been actually discussed several times, and I'll be quite honest. It looks like now with the new FATCA laws and the new implementation of banking and sort of transparency in accounts, it's really amazing. But now Jordan, for example, has given the right for the American IRS to go into any account of any person in Jordan who is of American origin. So now every bank that you try to open an account with, unless you declare whether you're an American or not, will not open that account for you. Even if you have an account, you need to opt it. So it's been really implemented bit by bit. One of the major hindrances before was that with the double taxation, it gives the right to the IRS to actually go into your account in Jordan. While this right is not given to the Jordanian tax department. So a Jordanian tax department cannot go into your account and look at your account numbers. While with the double taxation, this is one of the conditions. Jordan was having a problem with that. But now that with the FATCA that's happening anyway, it looks like that will actually ease this double taxation, because it is. We had actually a board member in Amsham who was head of the Marriott, which is a hotel in Amman, and he was paying taxes twice. It was a double taxation. It actually helps a lot. But on the other side, a lot of Americans or expats were happy working with Jordan, and because they didn't want to go through a lot of the issues that they have to go through. But now that it's there anyway, to be honest with you, it looks like it will happen. And once that happens, it will make it easier for Americans to be more competitive than their European and Canadian expats who work in our part of the world, so that not a smaller portion of what they make goes into taxes.
Thank you. Great. Thank you. Yeah, please.
I'm a little confused. Isn't there a treaty between Jordan and the U.S.? So as a corporation, if you are taxed in Jordan, unless the funds are repatriated, you're not taxed again in the U.S. And as an expat, you could apply the taxes paid in Jordan against the U.S. taxes. So I don't understand why you'd be double taxed. Unless you don't have a good tax attorney, or how? Let me answer the question.
The answer is just before it's actually individuals and companies, but please, Mr.
Well, it's a long discussion, but we'll just shed light on a couple of things. First, you do pay income tax in Jordan when you earn wage there, but you get a credit in the U.S.
Right.
So you do have an exclusion of income as a U.S. citizen when you are a bona fide resident of a foreign country. So the credit is given back to you. And you're right, if you do not pay U.S. income tax and a foreign earned corporate income tax. You don't, unless you bring the money back from here. So there are tax laws of protection and gives you a lot of credits. So there's no double taxation in the way. Wherever you pay, you get it back.
Right,
so,
right.
So
I'm
it's
sorry.
not a big issue.
And to that end, just simply if you do that as a corporation in Agro-Special Economic Zone, it's only 5% of net income.
5% net income.
Net.
Okay, but that's a universal. That's a global tax issue. So if you are a corporation set up in any country, you're taxed in that country, and then when you repatriate, then you could potentially get taxed on it as a corporation, depending on how it's structured. But as an individual, if you are an expat and you earn wages in Jordan, you have to pay tax on worldwide income as a U.S. citizen. So you're not double taxed; it gets credited.
I agree. I'm not talking about corporations. And just to clarify further, it's only 5% because in Amman it's more than 16%. Okay. So it's an incentive for corporations to come into 20% in the rest of the country.
But to clarify the FBAR issue, the FBAR is, in fact, is primarily a declaration of the highest balance you have in your business accounts. And you will only then, in this case, pay tax on the interest earned, and nothing else for the U.S. And this is not a new law. It's basically the law was instituted in 1973 in the U.S. Now it became more enforceable on foreign countries to comply with U.S. laws. And you lift, actually, for Jordan has a banking privacy, and that has been lifted for U.S. citizens. And so, because of agreements. So this is to be short on that.
Thank you, Mr. Shabbat. Yeah, Nabila, you got a question?
Yeah, good morning again. I'm going to switch gear a little bit and ask a question regarding women-owned businesses. So studies shows the amazing numbers of how many women are going through college, and the education percentage between men and women is tremendous. So I'm very proud of that point and keep it in that track. I've heard a lot about organizations being created in Jordan by women, and majority of them are NGOs or what we call non-for-profit. Can you give me a little bit of extra information on what is the Jordanian government doing to encourage women to begin manufacturing product or starting businesses and help support that progress? Thank you. And the question is to anyone, please.
Well, first of all, I just want to point out that all the respect to the women, and the women in Jordan are very powerful. And they are on a very high ranked positions. Frankly speaking, sometimes we get some criticism about that. The participation of women is not high in Jordan. But we do have in Jordan what we call private businesses or house businesses. And this actually now, we have all the support for the women to have these businesses at home and to have all registrations legally. And we have, as Dr. Maher said, we have what is called special funds for women opportunities. And a lot of these funds is only concentrated to women activities to start their own businesses as startups. And I can tell you the participation of women in businesses in Amman, the capital, is high, but in the other governments is still low, and this is why we are doing this and we are pushing for this. As a matter of fact, the tradition sometimes does not permit, but now everybody is open to this, and a lot of women are starting their own businesses. So going back to governments and budget consent to government, I believe this will enhance more participation for women activities in Jordan as a whole. And it did start. So if you go to some governments, you see that many projects have been started by women, especially for handicrafts, for small, certain food stuff. But because most of them, they are heading to food stuff, and we have very severe laws for food stuff and regulations and inspection. And they are going through this. It takes from them sometimes, but they are going through this and they are succeeding. And by these funds, which is only, it's not only addressed to women, but it's mostly addressed to women activities. And according to what I have seen, the numbers, the accuracy and on-time payment were excellent from women in the community. which had led a lot of banks also to go to help these kind of funds and to help women in doing their businesses. So I believe within the coming years we will see a lot of participation of women, especially in the governments.
Excellent. Thank you, Your Excellency. And, yeah, oh, go ahead, Bashar.
I can add to this. Aqaba is almost 130 miles from the capital, from Amman. And if you look at education, it's at national level, you'll find women excelling in education. And just put that in a column, put 18% unemployment in another column, and then put the third one in NGOs, entrepreneurship. You would find women excelling in entrepreneurship a lot, more than men. The concept is the opportunity is there, it needs to be enhanced. I don't think at this stage cultural attributes affect it, because though it's still there, but doesn't affect it that much. Because what is required is in an open market, an open economy, there are opportunities and everyone can excel in that aspect. In Aqaba, we have, for example, one of the most successful entrepreneurs in food and beverage, a young lady who has opened her own place and it's excelling. We have a young lawyer who is also entrepreneuring in art. So again, I think the whole situation in the country, the economy itself, the growth rate is limited, is not that much, but doing that in that region, with everything surrounding us, I think we did great.
Excellent. And yeah, Dr. Salman,
I just say, like, actually from my position, you know, I'm surrounded by professional women.
I noticed.
That's a great team we have here.
My wife is a journalist, and she headed the Jordan radio and television at one time. Before that, she was the press secretary for His Majesty. My sister Mesa runs a very successful architectural and engineering firm in Jordan, and she just did the Amman airport, which you probably have visited. It's an international award-winning airport. And the government really has done a lot of things also trying to help by, for example, creating daycare centers so that women can actually go. Because a lot of, whether we like it or not, if you look at the performance in universities, they are more than 50%. And they are better performers. So you have the top notch are actually, it's a pity that after that, because, you know, they get married and they can't, you know, work. So the government is trying to make that a non-issue by encouraging them and actually making it possible for them to work. At the same time, they have these new improved motherhood laws, they call, you know, where they have the, so that, you know, they have children, you know, they leave and all of that. So that's good. But the private sector, and here we represent the private sector, at least I do, is also doing you know, great strides in that direction. For example, Ittihad Bank has a special program. I'm on the board of the Ittihad Bank in Jordan. Sam Selfiti is the chairman. They have created a fund whereby they have exempted women from collateral so that they can take loans to start some of the home businesses that His Excellency alluded to without you know, collateral, which makes it easier for them. At Agri Jordan, a company, one of the companies that belongs to our group, is a modern agricultural company. And we have 300 and something employees, 328 I think was the last number, of which 80% are women working in the field. That's because it actually goes to remote areas where they are, instead of them traveling, you know, in and out of Amman. So this is very close to home, they work. And I'll be very honest with you, they're actually better workers. I mean, we're doing it also for selfish reasons because they perform better, especially in certain jobs that require, you know, somebody to be meticulous and repetitive and so forth, and keep the standardization. I think we can do a lot more. But yes, if you need, your question is of great importance because Jordan and the region, our region, really when you look at the number of women employed, the numbers, that's why I started by saying, I know what you're talking about, all women are all professionals, but that's not a typical picture of what's happening in the country. And it's a waste of half of the population, it's a waste of very good talent because they do actually get the best grades while they went to universities and others.
Yeah, and I would add one thing, Mr. Balan, thank you so much for this time, because as an outsider, observing things, both the House, the Parliament, they approved a bunch of laws recently. They're providing more protection and more freedom for women in Jordan. This is like a macro picture, but that will definitely be a key thing driving businesses. Yes. If you don't mind, Faye, we have another question from Dr. Ratib. I know we took a little bit more time, but that's good. It's an excellent discussion. Ratib?
Good morning, everybody. My name is Ratib. My question, and that question is in mind of every investor, regardless if he's foreigners or he is, domestic or he's from decent from the United States, which is, the rate of returns on his investment or in his money, which is, that's the most important questions. And that's why before he is investing in his money, he's going to think, where I'm going to put my money, because that's what in his mind. So what is, the good sector that, the people that, they should think seriously about their investment in that sector. So regardless what, and maybe you have, the answer in your mind, which one is sector that the best for his returns on his investments?
I know that.
Easy, pick me.
Well, let me tell you something, Dr. Ratib. If we knew what the best sector was, then, we'd all be jumping in, before we go. But the thing is, there's no such thing, if I may just start here, I'm sorry. The best sector is if it's done by the right person at the right time in the right place. So it's not about really a sector, I can't, but we tried to give, actually, I tried in the presentation to give an idea about the sectors that have worked in Jordan so far. But that doesn't mean that it's the only sector, because as times are changing so fast, new opportunities are created every day. The idea is to be, in touch, concentrating on what is happening, recognizing things before they actually, sometimes, as we said, if we start tomorrow, it's never too late. It's not a really true statement. Sometimes if you don't start now, it is too late. And the idea is to stay in touch, recognize these sectors, and hopefully it's something that you know about, because it always helps if you do something that is your specialty. If you ask Mr. Murad, for example, what is the best sector, you get a different response from him than if you get from me or from somebody else. But the idea is, in general, Jordan is actually posed to be a center of activities, not only for the Jordanian market, but about 1 billion people. And one has to look, and then the good thing is that business follows. Today with the globalization, there's a lot of synergies. So look at, for example, what is happening here, and you know that it's going to pick up in our part of the world, let's say, in a matter of time. And if you jump in it at the right time, that generally puts you in the positions you in the right place to pick out the right businesses and where the best IRR, as you mentioned, the return on investment numbers happen. For a long time, for example, for 4 or 5 years, we've been talking about renewable energy, and a lot of arguments were put that this is not the right thing, it's a good idea, but it doesn't make money. Today, the IRRs on renewable energy are phenomenal. So, those of us with vision back then, for example, are actually reaping the benefits today, and so forth.
Thank you, Mr. Butali. Yeah, Mr. Bashar, Your Excellency, you want to come to the Okay.
No. Okay. Basically, you have the competitive edge. That's what I would say. You have a partner on the ground, whether through business environment or through policy. And when I say business environment, the market regulates itself. You see an opportunity, you tackle it, people speak the same language with you, and that's the business language. There are no restrictions on foreign ownership, especially in Aqaba. Flat income tax 5%. And most importantly, I'll give you an example, for example. We have an American company who saw an opportunity back in 2003. The vision of creating a special economic zone was that the business and leisure hub, but we have the ports. So the vision was there should be no traffic, you should not see any traffic. We had 4 truck marshalling yards that created the software. and they connected these truck washing yards with the ports, so the flow is regulated and controlled in time. They are now exporting that to Iraq, Uzbekistan, and that was #1 in the world, and they're making out of it a lot of money.
Great, thank you, Michelle, we appreciate it. And Dr. Ratib, I would encourage you that we're going to have the business-to-business interaction after this. So they will give you better ideas about where they think potential return on some of these investments. We're going to have one last question or comment, and I'd love for it to be very, very short. I think we'll give the mic in the back. And any of them, that's not to say no to further discussion. We want to give you the break, but we need the mic to
be able to accommodate demands based on the political system have resulted in two major conclusions. Number one is that we managed through the Arab Spring because trust in the security establishment, one, ability of the system to adapt, and thirdly, the way in which the Jordanians responded in a very rational way to the regional circumstances of the Arab Spring. One of them is being, it is better to stay with the certain you have rather than go into an uncertain territory where you may lose the little you have. And I think that was a very rational response on Jordanians, the part of Jordanian export of goods and services. It is expected to grow significantly by 20 to 30%, and this is an invitation for more investment benefiting from the free trade agreement with the US and other countries, including the Arab free trade agreement. Part of our research, we have done a survey in Jordan. We asked around 500 companies in different sectors in Jordan about the investment environment, whether they think the investment environment in Jordan is encouraging or discouraging for them to be investing more. And it is interesting that the percentage of people who say it is encouraging grew from 36% to 41% in a matter of less than a year, between the year 2015 and 16 and 17. Moreover, we asked a question about over the next 12 months, do you intend to expand your investments in Jordan, maintaining it as they are, or reducing it? Again, we find that around 85% of respondents, investors, either they would like to keep their investments at the same level they are today, or increasing them. And this is interesting. That is actually a vote of confidence in the perception how investors perceive the investment environment in the country. And interestingly, a lower percentage of investors look at they look into reducing their investment in the country. Another question that is indicative, have you considered moving your business outside Jordan? Now, based on the Arab Spring and the turbulence across the region, a lot of investors, they were thinking of, okay, let's move to Jabal Ali in Dubai, or to Egypt or other places, or to Europe, wherever, for better investment opportunities. In fact, that is, in Jordan, those who have not thought about this increased from 70 to 78%, and I think this is good for the one interesting study that was published by JCP, which is the Jordan Competitiveness Index. It's a USAID-funded program in Jordan. Looks at different sectors, and they surveyed over 500 or 600 companies, surveying their CEOs or chairmen or chairpersons, and asking them the question about the workforce quality, supporting the enabling environment, the business, access to finance, etc. And the sectors were clean tech, ICT, medical services, life sciences, and now this is measured out of 7, so it's a Likert scale out of 7. You have, for example, workforce quality, and this is where I'd like to make a point here, especially for those who work with labor force and the competitiveness of the Jordanian labor force. As you can see in the first column in this table,
On average, you have 4.2% describing the workforce quality as good out of 7, which is reasonable compared to other countries. The best of them is in the clean technology, and this is actually reflected in the growth of the clean technology and the renewable energy sector in the country. And here where we come into a very interesting opportunity for investors and for local businesses and for partnerships between Jordanian and non-Jordanian companies, which is access to finance. This chart shows that the lowest indication or the lowest support is for the access to finance. So that means that you have a qualified labor force, but that labor force does not realize its potential simply because access to finance is not as good as it should be or at the level where it should be. This is an overview of how things are, and I will be more than happy to elaborate more during the Q&A session. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next panelist is engineer Mr. Musa Sekaz, who basically is the Vice Chairman and General Manager of AACC Specialized Industries, and they primarily produce olive oil, za'atar, as well as olives, and have been wildly successful. And Mr. Musa will share with us his experience in terms of his trade matters and issues with the United States.
Good evening or good afternoon, everyone. It's a great pleasure being here. As probably some of you know, that this is our third state in less than 6 days. We started in Chicago, and then we went to Washington, and now we're in beautiful Detroit. We have two goals in mind. One is to emphasize how Jordanians are ready to do business and to welcome whether it's Americans or Arab Americans to the beautiful country of Jordan. We've heard in the first panel, and Dr. Faris Bezat now stressed how the investment climate is and how we consider Americans as friends of Jordan, and the relationship is a historical one, and you know how with of course the Arab Americans and the Jordan Americans or Americans from Jordan know how we get so along with the Jordanians. So and the investment climate is definitely welcoming. Lots of investments have been going on over the past years. So this is mainly our main, one of our main goals. The second goal is, of course, to export to the American market. The American market or the US market is the biggest. We have some success stories. We would like to have more. The trade balance has been increasing, especially in the garment sector. So the average that it had reached over the past 10 years, 1.3 billion. It's a good number, but definitely there's a big potential for trade and business between the two countries. We have with us a group of leading manufacturers. As you know, in industry we say, industry brings added value, and added value brings growth. Growth brings employment, and this will increase the stability and success of Jordan. As I said, we have with us a group of leading manufacturers. We have, of course, people representing a sweet company. It's a leading sweet company. It's called Nafisa, a pharmaceutical company. And as you know, we have many success stories in the pharmaceutical area. Jordan exports to over 60 countries in the pharmaceuticals. A detergent company which exports to 25 countries and would like to be present in the United States. A chocolate company, wafers company, which exports to some European countries and many Arab countries, and would also like to be present in the American market. Two companies that manufacture dates, a biscuits company, and a very actually interesting, innovative company that manufactures close to, if you know, the chicken cubes, but Jamid cubes. So this is, I think, a very interesting, innovative company that would like to export and would like your help. Of course, I have my colleague and friend from the Amman Chamber of Industry, which we are proud to present, Mr. Ahmed Al-Khudri, who has been exporting for many years to the United States spices and different food added items. There was an interesting question actually. The gentleman, I think, Haddad, talked about what is the best sector to invest in. And I think we had a very nice reply from the panel, and I would like to just highlight. I'm representing also the Amman Chamber of Industry together with my colleague, Mr. Fatih Al-Jabir. Raise your hand, Mr. Fatih Al-Jabir. And together with Mr. Ahmed Al-Khudri. We will be happy in the Amman Chamber of Industry to highlight the sectors if you are interested in industry. My colleagues here, of course, from the Amman Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Haidar, His Excellency Mr. Haidar Isa Murad and Mr. Tabba, would definitely be interested in sitting with each and every one of you if you're interested in investing in the services sector. Of course, my colleagues at the Aqaba would highlight Mr. Imad Hijazin and Mr. Bashar Abu-Rahman would definitely be happy to highlight what opportunities we have there. We have a big market access in Jordan. We have the Great Free Trade Agreement, which is access to over 1 billion consumers. As you know, Jordan has an amazing climate in terms of weather. Many Americans have bases in Jordan and are working with the whole Arab area out of Jordan. So we can definitely sit and discuss whatever comes to mind. I'm happy to receive any questions and looking forward to meeting each and every one of you.
Thank you. Can I just ask you very quickly, what's the size of the manufacturing sector in Jordan and how critical is it to the economy?
We have actually over 18,000 companies in the manufacturing sector. It employs over 250,000 Jordanians. And of course with the refugee crisis, which I think is an added value and not a negative thing. Yes, we don't have so much resources, but I think there are added value to the manufacturing sector. We have over 350 companies that were set up over the past 3-4 years from Syrians. So I think this is an added value. But we need your help. Our friends in America, we have our friends in Europe, to come and invest in Jordan and to import our manufacturing products in order, as I said earlier, to increase stability and to be prosperous.
But from just a practical point of view, what can the private sector or other governmental agencies do to help Jordan further diversify its exports to the United States? Is it finance? Is it greater marketing? Is it more trade missions? What do you feel that you specifically need?
Absolutely. More FDI, more foreign direct investments. Definitely this is the number one, because I think we have everything going on. We have a nice financial structure, and our banks, you can Google that, it's there. They have a very high rating, so this is an added value. We have a new investment law, as some of my colleagues highlighted earlier. So the number one is free direct investment, and the number two is definitely to have business exporting to markets such as US and having maybe joint ventures also. Maybe this is the third thing is coming. Americans, Arab Americans, Jordanians living in America, coming and having a joint venture, either to export their products to America or export their products to Europe or the Gulf. So these are probably the highlight or the main three items that I would think of.
Okay, thank you. Next, I'd like to pull in Mr. Ahmed Khudri and ask him about what are the practical implications of his business in terms of how did you find it was the accessibility to the U.S. market? How did you find your support within both countries? Can you describe the journey that you've taken? You've run a very successful company, and obviously there were, I'm sure, challenges along the way. Do you mind just giving everyone an overview of the genesis of your company and the evolution of it?
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. My name is Ahmed Khudri. I'm from Khudri and Sons Trading Company. We are in the business of food processing and packaging. In 1990, during the invasion of Kuwait, we had an unannounced embargo on the Jordanian products going to our strategic markets in the Gulf region. So since that day, we thought it was a dream to our company to try to enter the US market. In 1991, we had our first 20 cases shipped to Detroit with a mixed container. It was, as I remember, $250. The first shipment in 1991 with a mixed container shipped to the US. Nowadays, we have 14 distributors. We are doing to 14 distributor private label. We are exporting from Amman, from our facility, $6 to $7 million a year. And we are looking for more because we believe that the market share is much higher.
Did you have to modify your products for the US market?
Yes, we participate. Since the last 15 years, we've been participating in the exhibitions in the US. We used to participate regularly at the Fancy Food Show that used to be in New York and for a certain period of time in Washington, D.C. as well. We never missed any exhibition, but unfortunately in the last few years, the last 2 years, we didn't have the opportunity for the participation because, the administration of the organizers, they gave us another location which is under the tunnel in the Jacob Javits Center. We visited that location. We asked the participants, it was not feasible at all. So we didn't want to come participate and bring the other Jordanian producers to it. I believe that this year, next July, we will be participating in our last position, in our last location, which is very good. And we will try to bring more Jordanian producers. Actually, we are helping Jordanian producers to export to the US. When I started exporting to the US, it was very hard, it was very difficult because of the lack of information about the FDA regulations, about the labeling, about everything. But we managed to do it all by the book. We never had any, we are exporting about 300 items. We never had any item that was not approved during the inspection when it comes to not any single item was detained from the FDA.
So what you're saying is the process now is a lot more efficient, transparent, and easier to grasp and comply with than when you first started?
Absolutely.
Okay. And in terms of regulations, obviously when you're exporting to the U.S., you have FDA, customs that you mentioned, etc. I think Jordan, because of the free trade agreement and some pre-arranged agreements, has quite a few facilities for FDA clearance in advance. Can you quickly describe how beneficial that's been to your company?
Well, actually now with the assistance of AmCham in Jordan, they are doing seminars, they are trying to educate the export managers. They are helping on getting the FDA registration number. Also in Amman Chamber of Industry, we have a new design center that will help to apply the informations required, like the weight in ounce, like as the nutrition fact as well. So I believe we are ready, and most of the Jordanian producers in the food sectors, they are ready to export to the US. Yes, sir.
Just a question for both Mr. Baykat and yourself. In terms of competitiveness, because of the free trade agreement, so you have the benefit of lower duties, et cetera, probably even expedited processing. How competitive do you find the U.S. market? Is it extremely competitive? Is it a difficult market? Or do you think there's a very good opportunity compared to other regions or markets around the world?
Well, since the free trade, the free FTA, the free trade agreement that has been signed between the government of Jordan and the USA, our exports doubled, and we are still moving on in a very good way.
So you find that there's still very good demand in the U.S. for your products?
Yeah, absolutely.
And because of the free trade agreement, there's a strategic advantage?
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes, absolutely.
Musa, do you have anything to add to that in terms of your experience?
Actually, unfortunately, we've not exported to the U.S. yet. Our first trial actually was in 2010. We exported one pellet. We had very nice feedback, but unfortunately there was in olive oil, I'm talking about specifically. Now, of course, we have diversified. We have other products. We have flavored olive oil. So I'm hoping that now, with this trade mission and the people that we have met through Mr. Khudri's contacts, will hopefully give us access to the American market. The American market actually is a very competitive one, very price sensitive to our suppliers actually, because we thought the purchasing power would definitely have a positive edge on our products, on our food products in general. But you know, it's like any other market. It's even probably more competitive.
Walmart, Costco, and
absolutely, and more price competitive. So therefore, I think it's not easy, but it's a start. And we definitely assure you, whether it's in the chambers, whether in AmTram, whether the trade coalition that Mr. Balbani clearly talked about, I think we are very resilient. We'll be coming back, I assure you, and we will definitely, hopefully, all of us make it to the American market. Because we are, as you know, Jordanians are very resilient. The stability, what is happening in Jordan actually over the last 10 years just shows you how resilient Jordanians are. So we assure you we'll be back.
Briefly, just I'd like to add on the unusual industry that can come to the American market, which is the Jordanian wine. Over the past few years, I think the industry has grown significantly, and some of the Jordanian wines have been very competitive in Europe. They won prizes in Berlin, last week in Paris. Jordan River won many prizes. And I think the environment in Jordan helps a lot to produce a unique wine. For example, the Shiraz, you know, globally it does its best in volcanic soil, and that is abundant in Jordan. And I personally enjoy it, and I do hope that if anyone is interested in that, let's talk about that to connect you to the guys who are doing that in Jordan.
I think the wine is all holy as well, right?
Yeah, all the wine. All the Holy Land.
Next, we're going to switch now from products and manufacturing and food items and chemicals to more of the service sector. So I'd like for Mr. Tariq to describe to us the trade in services, the evolution of services between the U.S. and Jordan, and where you see things going from here.
Good evening. I'm always happy they say me for last time. I was member of the Chamber of Commerce and Industry. And on the podium, that's why they say me for last. I'm gonna just go with things vice versa. We as a family have been doing business with the U.S. since 1975, since Chrysler was owned by AACC. Listen guys, this market is a continent. When it rains, it pours, food and drug. We are proud of what we produce when it comes to industry, whether starting from food sector, chemicals, pharmaceutical. We are really proud of what we produce, and we don't just produce anything, we produce quality industries. The services in Jordan, I can assure you that it is the right time for investment in Jordan. I cannot say we have really solved all the problems. What we do have now is a fast track. You can do all your paperwork and all your procedure as an investor in one place. It's not a one-stop shop, no, I'll be honest, it's a fast track thing. If you want to talk about Aqaba, I cannot talk about Aqaba, and Mr. Imad is here, but a lot of money can be done in Aqaba. Aqaba is the main port of Jordan. You don't really have to put billions, no. You can do really, start with very little, and from our personal experience, money can be done in Aqaba, whether it's in cargo, services, tourism. Jumping to tourism, just recently we had something called Jordan Trail, where if you're into hiking, biking, snorkeling, scuba diving, Jordan is the place. Aqaba is the city for that. 30 minutes from Aqaba you can go to Wadi Rum. 30 minutes you can be across the board to other countries, Egypt, Israel. So we would love to see more tourism into Jordan from you guys. You are our ambassadors, It's not about having 100 attendees, no. Quality people can be, like you, can be the Jordan ambassadors for tourism. What we need is your support and your commitment to Jordan, to our country. I'm champ. Ahmed Batani and the team have been doing a great job. Every association has its own way of doing business. Okay, so AmCham, Chamber of Commerce, Chamber of Industry, but AmCham have doing a great job through years, and we have to raise our hat. We as the private sector, me as the commercial sector, I have to raise my hat for AmCham for doing a great job through the years. Any mission have its success, but you cannot have the success tomorrow or today. We are building on, doing business for the future. We're not just here for one hit and run deal. We're looking for a better future of the U.S. Rebuilding the region, we know that we live in a region that is need to be rebuilt soon. We came here, I like a word that Mohammed Batani always used, a knock-door mission. A knock-door mission. We came here to knock door the U.S. markets. We want to be leaders in rebuilding the region, whether it's Syria, Iraq, Yemen, Palestine. What does it take to learn from your expertise as Jordanians living in the U.S.? We need to do that. On our the hall next to us, some local Jordanian manufacturers that we are proud of have brought them some little samples to show you what we produce. Again, all those products have had the highest certificate awards where they can get from worldwide. I'm not going to say much. We need your support. We are one team. We believe as AmCham that we can work as a team. We don't believe in a single, working alone. Thank you very much.
Well, I have a question for you, if you don't mind, related to not services, but actually to manufacturing. Since you're sitting in the border city, the worldwide still a superpower in terms of automotive and truck assembly, etc. Why isn't there a stronger dialogue and cooperation between Michigan, and the Midwest or the U.S., if you will, and Jordan when it comes to automobiles and trucks? Now, I know that the freight trade agreement, there's some advantages. I think Land Rover assembles 5,000 vehicles in Jordan. The Middle Eastern market's growing 7.3% or so, I believe, a year. Do you see a way that you can further deepen your relationship, say, for instance, with Fiat Chrysler, Ford, or GM?
Land Rover does not produce anything in Jordan.
No assembly at all?
Nothing.
Okay.
Ford,
It was an idea.
Ford, with Kat Beeking Hussein, Design and Development Bureau, yes, they do produce military cars. And I can say probably that the only vehicle in the world that can fit that military specs is Ford.
So Ford is assembling vehicles in Jordan?
Yes, it's basically CKD based factory where I think that Ford 550 where it's converted to a military vehicle. Yes, Ford is doing that. The Wrangler is being assembled for military also in Cairo, in Egypt, and in Palestine also. So Jeep have a long story with that.
I see. Okay. Well, being here in Michigan, I think since you're also had the history with Chrysler, I would imagine that there may be other discussions you may want to have with some of the other larger automotive assembly companies here.
Definitely, we would love to do so. Like I said, this mission is, we are in the business of, we are in the business of making money. If we don't make money, then, passion will take you 1 year, 2 years, then we don't make money. Just the business. Whatever it takes, we're ready to do it.
So, thank you very much. Dr. Ferris, on a macro level, since you covered Jordan's climate, education, quality of workers, young population, of course the advantage of the free trade agreement, what other suggestions would you have to further enhance the bilateral trade between both countries? What other distinct advantages does Jordan have, would you say, specifically that could be utilized for the free trade agreement?
Thank you, Rami. This is a good question. First, I think the capitalization of the strategic relationship between Jordan and the United States is essential and important. I think what we have seen over the past few days is a testimony to how that can be achieved best. That is taken for granted, but I think what's more important is to invest a lot more in interactions between Jordanian businesses, the Jordanian business community, and the American business community, because I'm not in the production business, I'm in the service business, and I can see clearly that there's hunger among Jordanian businesses. They would like to do more, and they would like to familiarize American consumers and American businesses with what they produce. And this is essential. Now, the other advantage that I think a lot of people talked about it over the past few days, which is the free trade agreements that Jordan have with many countries that offers over 1 billion consumers. And I think this is an essential, it's a very important stepping stone for further development of the collaboration between Jordanian and American businesses. More importantly, I think the relative stability in the region that Jordan enjoys is a plus for any company that is looking to enhance or to increase its investment in Jordan. At least you have a state that respects itself and respects its institutions. The judiciary is also functional and it is respected. You don't have to go through nationalization of your private business just overnight. Jordan, I think it has demonstrated over the past 50 years that it is an ally, a partner that you can count on. And I think that we have to do more of that. I think also Jordan is being tainted because of the regional circumstances and the regional instability. The other day, interestingly, I was in Lisbon in a conference and I met someone from an organization called John Paul Foundation, company. And it's a tourism company that sends people from the United States and from Poland to Israel. I asked them, so why don't you do anything to Jordan? Why don't you send people to Jordan? They said, well, those guys, and he mentioned the people on the trip, he pointed at them and he said, if they hear there is a stabbing or there is a problem in Jerusalem, or even they will cancel their trips to Israel. So, and you guys, this is what he said, you have a problem that you live in a turbulent region, so you have to do more to make people aware that actually you enjoy the stability that other people don't. And that I don't think we are doing enough on that personally as a Jordanian. We need to do more of that. And I don't think we can do it on our own. We need to have the support of the Americans. We need to have the support of our partners. And I think that is for the benefit of everyone. And it's a win-win both ways.
I think that's an excellent point. I mean, I was recently in Egypt, and unfortunately their tourism industry is taking a massive hit. And you can feel the impact of it on the economy and the people. And unfortunately there have been a few incidents in Egypt. But there really hasn't been anything like that in Jordan. And hopefully there won't be. I mean, nothing on a massive, actually some things happen all over. How can we work together to create this perception of safety, stability? You won't have an issue, and are you fairly certain that people would feel very comfortable? I think they will, but unfortunately, as you stated, the neighborhood has some issues.
I think we have to capitalize on our competitive sectors and tourism, for example. I think religious tourism, Christian religious tourism in particular, is a place where you can create wonders. And I think it would prove to be more important than anything else we do. Because you're capitalizing on 2.5 billion people globally. And if you target 1% of those, think of how many millions you're going to get a year. But that does not happen in a vacuum. You have to translate that into actual programs on the ground. Now, we have taken the initiative as a service company to develop a concept for Christian religious tourism to Jordan, because we have at least 4 certified Christian pilgrimage locations by the Pope, by the Vatican, and I think this has not been utilized enough. And it is, if you look at the data over the past few years, in the year 2016, the portion of tourists coming to Jordan as religious tourists is insignificant, it's marginal. And I think you can easily just think of China, for example, and we have been talking to a couple of Chinese companies who are, China has 130 million Christians. You don't have to get the 130 million, just get 1%, that's 1.3 million. And if you get 1.3 million Christians, think of how many other businesses, the indirect businesses that are going to benefit out of that, and the economic growth that's going to be generated out of that. So I think this is one sector that we have to invest heavily in, and if anyone is interested, we can talk about the details. We have developed the concept notes, we have developed some feasibilities on that in different areas, and we would love to discuss that. The second thing that we are also underutilizing is Jordan is a natural museum in terms of whether it's, you are talking about archaeological sites, which are probably in the tens of thousands. Dr. Imad is our mentor in that. He can tell us more details about that. But I would like just to say a couple of things on agriculture, agro, and adventure tourism. You know, in Italy, 76 million visitors a year go to Italy. You know that 65% of those does agritourism? What does agritourism mean there? It means you go pick a couple of tomatoes, add them to the boiled pasta with a little bit of olive oil and some oregano, and here you have, and you pay 20 euros for that. The cost on the host is going to be probably 5 euros, so you're making 15 euros. I'm just an example, probably it's a little bit theoretical. But you can do wonders with that, and you have in the Jordan Valley, it's a natural greenhouse. Mr. Bataina, he's the one who, the first one who said that to me actually. The Jordan Valley is a natural greenhouse, and I think it has been underutilized in terms of agricultural production, because you can produce the window that you can send, you can export to Europe from October to March every year. Well, nothing grows in Europe unless it is industrial, agro-industrial, with greenhouses and high consumption of energy, etc. So that's an opportunity. I think if we do a little more on the turning agricultural products into more added value products, we can make a difference. And our farmers are not going to be the poorest in the country as they are today. We can make a significant change and a significant leap forward in their living standards. So my final point is that if we really want to do something, we have to capitalize on the competitive edges that we have, and those are very clear. Tourism, and there are specific sectors that religious, adventure, eco, these are very important. I would like to add one last point to this. The 5-star tourism is very sensitive to the regional circumstances. Now, if there is a war in Iran, which is thousands of miles away, they would say the Middle East is unstable, it's unsafe, and we will not go. The good thing about religious tourism and adventure tourism, it's a committed tourism. And people do not really pay, I would assume, a lot, especially in the adventure tourism sector, because if you are going to jump off a cliff in Jordan or jump from a waterfall, you don't really take a lot of, you don't give a lot of weight to whether there is a bomb exploding in Baghdad or in southern Sudan. Thank you.
If I may add something on tourism, actually this is an idea to the audience, is that of course many people here know how important the olive oil manufacturing in Jordan is. We're number 7 or number 8 in Jordan. Me myself had a very nice experience with the Japanese ambassador, and I took him to a farm with his wife. They picked olive oil early in the morning. We took olives. We took the olives to the mill, and actually it was a very nice experience. Even the wife said, "This is a dream to me that came true." So this is now an idea for you guys to actually get your fellow Americans, get the Arab Americans to Jordan and do the experience. It's a very delightful experience. So along the paths of what Dr. Faz presented, this is an idea that we can actually start. And you can start. I'm sure many of you, whether Jordanians living in Detroit or whether Arab Americans living in Detroit, I'm sure you've never experienced that. And this is part of your culture and part of our culture. You can take the kids and we'll be happy to host you in Jordan. So that we to start with a beautiful experience, a cultural experience, and a fun experience. So I would like just to stress how this idea can come through, and you can help us do this.
Just for info, adventure tourism had been launched in Jordan just late last year, and it's funded by the USAID. Thanks to the US government for sponsoring this project. Jordan Trail, Jordan Motorcycles, Jordan Tourism. So it is funded by the USAID. One of the projects is called BEST. So thank you for the US government for sponsoring and increasing the number of adventure tourism in Jordan.
And I think, unfortunately, this I don't want to say it's called wrong way. Tourism in general, whether you go to London, Paris, and other places, is no longer safe, as we all know as well. And I know that even though the neighborhood is very volatile, I still think a case can be made in terms of the relative safety and stability of the area of the country. So, with that said, we want to open up the floor for any questions for any of our panelists. So, Mr. Jaidan, please.
Well, my name is Mr. Wali Jadan. I mentioned it earlier. I had the questions. And you concentrate heavy in tourism. And yes, you have 3 gold mines. It's the medical tourism, the religion tourism, and the product of the Dead Sea. And the Arab American community, which is, as mentioned, over 6 million, I think not even 5% have the knowledge that Jordan have that. So take the advantage of reaching this huge purchase power, this community that spending power, it's over $11 billion a year, and Michigan is the hub of that community, and we at MEA TV, we are ready to promote all that within the Arab American community because we reach all the United States and Canada. Thanks.
You need to help us with that, definitely.
Anytime.
Don't forget agriculture.
panelists. I appreciate the time taken here. I actually want to just make one commentary, not necessarily a question, but feel free to comment on it. And Mr. Wadad in particular, Dr. Brazat, your focus on the fact that this is a long journey, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Jordanian businesses, you will understand that. This is not just kind of turn on the switch and everything will be just working tomorrow. Your experience was very well stated. You said your dad worked for 20 years until you got this market, which is really a huge market. This is it. If you succeed here, that's it. You don't need to go anywhere else, right? So it's worth the investment. So I appreciate your emphasis on that. And Dr. Brazat in particular, Jordan as a target, as a destination for tourism, is acknowledged by a lot of Americans. You know, I've been here for 25 years, working with Americans, 25 years. And every time we talk about Jordan, we talk about what Jordan can bring, no one denies that. The most important part is how do we present the truth about Jordan, the stability of Jordan, the kind of things that are available for tourists, the benefits of being there. And by the way, that's not just on you guys, that's on us as well. So on us and our brothers and sisters from the Arab community as a whole, not just Jordanians. So I appreciate you stressing that and you bringing it to the forefront. Thank you so much.
I think we have time for maybe one more question. Please.
Question is for Mr. Shibani, because I think the panel has been under the hammer and we've discussed everything about Jordan already. Mr. Shibani, how is it and how instrumental is this MOU that we appreciatively and are been honored to sign today with your organization? How will we, I'm speaking on behalf of most of the industrialists that are here today, how will they benefit directly from this MOU, and will there be an outreach for not just the Arab community and Arab businesses, but rather the American companies in general and the distributors?
It's a surprise with this. But let me tell you what, so the FTA means it's special to me. I'm a Lebanese origin, been involved in China for 25 years. I was one of the people who witnessed the actual signing between Abdullah and President Clinton at the White House at that time, and wondered what would be the outcome of the relationship. Because a prosperous country is a prosperous region because of your situation, but also we have built personally and through the chamber a lot of personal relationship with unique individuals who came from Jordan. We had signed an agreement about 15 years ago with the Anshan. I visited Jordan on many occasions. And today, as I mentioned earlier, that our commitment has been renewed and the vows have been renewed again. And we are committed to continue the exchange. It means that we will be your office here, and we will represent you, will assist you, will oblige to the MOU that we have committed to. And we look forward to basically continue this relationship and to promote the business community in Jordan.
Population centered into a very critical region. The free trade agreement is an amazing tool for both countries, and it's worked well, and hopefully it'll grow and it'll help both countries create more jobs, more economic activity. And I hope it makes a dent into the 18% unemployment rate in Jordan, which is a very critical issue, because if you have young people without jobs, that's going to obviously cause issues. And so I think it's very critical that some of these key sectors are further sort of exemplified, and we reinvest in them, and we think of them strategically so that they can produce the jobs to accommodate the growth of the population. Thank you very much.
Thank you.